Basically, there's 24 forms of Narayana. And they are surrounded by tiny Chatuvyuha around each Narayana. Then from that second Sankarshan, Mahasankarshan, comes the sponge, the Purush avatar. Kalana, Dambudakashai, Kshilodakashai. And then we come to Kshilodakashai. He is the Vyanidyam for all the 6 types of avatar. Lilavatar, Gunavatar, Shaktyavesh, direct, indirect, Yuga avatar, Manvantara avatar. I can send you back again. But again, I notice in this chart there's some mistakes, They can't get it right. Sometimes they make mistakes. I have to make one actually. Okay, so I'll send you if you want. So let's go back to the purports. We discussed Krishna 100%, that is 64 principles and qualities in total. Then Vishnu Tattva 93%, and then we come into Lord Shiv. Can you read Lord Shiv, who is neither avatar nor Avesh? Lord Shiv, who is neither avatar nor Avesh in the purport.
Should I carry on, Prabhu, or?
Perhaps Eric was quite eager.
Yes, no problem. No problem.
I'm sorry.
Lord Shiv, you can start.
No, I think I'm a little bit lost. I think it was not, but Sri Krishna is the possessor, no?
No, we discussed all this.
Lord Shiv, yeah. Lord Shiv is who is neither avatar nor Avesha, nor in between them, possesses almost 84% of the attributes. But the Jivs, or the individual living beings in different status of life, possesses up to the limit of 78% of the attribute. In the conditioned states of material existence, the living being possesses this attribute in very minute quantity, varying in terms of the pious life of the living beings.
That's important, huh? Did you notice? More you are pious, more you are prone to develop tiny bit more than the other fellow. Why? Because you're more pious. And conversely, more you are demonic, devoid of Shubh karma. Shubh karma means pious deeds. More you're going to be having tiny little bit of those 78%. More you are pious, more you're going to get 78%. But the person who has 78% in total is Lord Brahma. So you can see the auspiciousness is coming not from your bank account or your gotra, or I'm born in a, like we say in English, he's born with a golden silver in his mouth. But actually, at the end of the day, wealth comes from piety. It is true individually and collectively. France is an extremely doomed country because people are extremely impious for at least 3 centuries. So even though apparently there's a veneer of wealth at first sight, but when you dig into the demeanor of the politicians, you become practically, you throw up. So everything is revolving around the piety. From piety will come everything else. Your beauty, your Aishvarya, and you will be more endowed with greater percentage within 78%. Okay, so we can carry on unless you have questions. in the conditioned state of natural existence. Can you see? I think we covered that. The most perfect living beings is Brahma, the supreme administrator of one universe. He possesses 78% of the attributes in full. All of the demigods have the same attributes in less quantity, whereas human beings possess the attributes in very minute quantity. The standard of perfection for human beings is to develop the attributes up to 78% in full. The living being can never possess attributes like Lord Shiva, Vishnu, or Lord Krishna. Living being can become godly by developing the 78% transcendental attributes in fullness. But he can never become a god like Shiva, Vishnu, or Krishna. He can become Brahma in due course. The godly living beings who are all residents of planets in the spiritual sky are eternal associates of God in different spiritual planets called Haridam and Maheshdam. So what is the difference between Haridam and Maheshdam?
Haridam is Vishnu Loka's planet,
Yes,
and Mahishdam is Lord Shiva's abode.
which is technically where? Where is it situated?
Kailash.
Yeah, Kailash here. Huh? Even in Tibet, I've seen beautiful pictures. There is Kailash. If you go on the border of China and India, there is Kailash. Sachinand Maharaj went there. He told me the story. If you go to the summit, you die. So no one will ever dare. One time, an expedition, they got the permit from China to go to the summit. Because Chinese are quite nashtik, they are atheistic. But then immediately the local person, they told the nashtik, they told the Chinese, they're going to die. So the Chinese were intelligent enough to revert the decision. No, we are revoking. We are changing our mind. You cannot go to the summit. We were told you may die. Because it's been like this for millennia. So now you can do parikrama. Sachinand Maharaj went there one time with a team of devotees. It's talking about 5,000 meters high. Even parikrama is 5,000 meters high. So what happened is it's maha cold. It's minus 20, minus 30. It's 5,000 meters high. So one devotee got lost. Can you imagine you getting lost? You're at 5,000 meters. There's no tree, there's just rocks. He lost the group. And night came in. And he was practically freezing to death. He had to hide himself. He was lost. He kind of hide himself behind a big rock for the night. And can you imagine, he heard the voice of Lord Shiva who told him, you cannot stay here, you go down. He blasted him. The devotee could have died, actually. He didn't know where he was, and I guess he was going up in his foolishness. And Lord Shiva spoke to him. Devotees was trembling like anything. And then, by Krishna's grace, in the morning, he found the devotees. Can you imagine that devotee? He heard the voice of Lord Shiva, who told him, don't stay here, go down. So Sachinand Maharaj told us the story. This is not a joke, this mountain. It's Kailash. But if you go in the universe, we are in Devidam here. And this material world is called Devidam. As you go up near the river Viraja. Viraja means it's Karanadakasha Ocean, basically. There is a region which is called Kailash. Anyone who goes there becomes transformed as a woman immediately. There's no male there because of poverty. One time she had to put her foot down, and Lord Shiva, he gave her that boon. Whoever comes here will become a woman. So there's billions of maidservants to Parvati and Lord Shiva there. And this is the place where you are filtered. That is why Lord Shiva has a Trishul. Trishul means the trident, and those three peaks of the trident stands for Adhipotic clash, Adhidevic clash, Adhyatmic clash. So whoever wants to go back to the spiritual world, even Vaikunt, they have to go through Kailash, and they will be tested by Shiv, Lord Shiv and Parvati. So we are told here by Srila Prabhupada that beyond Mahesh or Kailash Dham, there is that river, Viraja, or it's called also Causal Ocean, Karanadakashai Ocean. And beyond that, you find Vaikunt. And within Vaikunt, again, you find a gradation. You will find this in Upadeshamrita, Vaikuntha loks, presided by each Narayan. And around this Narayan, I was telling you, there's a set of Chatuvyuha. And each Vaikuntha lok goes by a different name. I've got the names here. If you are interested, I can tell you. I can send you the chart. And then beyond Vaikuntha lok, it's still within Vaikuntha lok, but on the higher realm, you will find, what is the first place you will find? Recently, we celebrated Ram Navami. You will find Ayodhya, Ayodhya. Beyond Ayodhya, you find, what do you find? Beyond Ayodhya? Dwarkadam. And beyond Dwarkadam, you find Mathura. And beyond is Vrindavan. And within Vrindavan, you find two chambers, Golok Navadvip, Golok. And if you are in this Kali Yuga, because Mahaprabhu came as Avatari, Golok Navadvip is superior. Why? Because Navadvip is Odaryadam. You are giving Krishna Prem to others. So my Guru Maharaj used to say, from Golok Navadvip you can go to Golok Vrindavan. But from Golok Vrindavan you cannot go to Golok Navadvip. So that is why, again and again, I'm pushing that point, you have to go through Panchatattva. You cannot bypass Panchatattva. Otherwise, the door is locked. In this Kali Yuga, you have practically to pay more attention to Panchatattva, Gaunitai than Radha Krishna. That is that's the way, that's the in between, the via medium. So much safer to go through Gaunitai, Panchatattva. Yes, Prabhu?
So you mentioned that from Goloka Navadvip we cannot go to Golok Vrindavan. We can go to Golok Vrindavan, but from Golok Vrindavan we cannot go to Golok Navadvip. But we have like manjaris of gopis from Vraj Lila. Last times they come into Chaitanya Lila.
Yes, so that's because they're intelligent. But if they had remained as gopis, could they have entered into the Gaulila? No. So purposefully, because what is the nomenclature? The bhav of the gopis is Madhurya bhav, Madhurya prem. They want to enjoy with Krishna. And the manjaris don't want to enjoy, they are facilitating. But all this, who came in the picture of Gaulila? Most of the acharyas we have in Gaudiya Vaishnava are manjaris. Very few are gopis, like who are gopis, for instance, Ramananda Roy, but practically, look at the acharyas, Narottam, Vishwanath, Baladev, they were manjaris, Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhakti Thakur, they are manjaris. So they came purposefully in male forms to assist Gaul Mahaprabhu, especially in the mood of Udaya Bhav, that is giving Krishna consciousness freely and wholly. Because if you have something, you can give it. So all these acharyas are manjaris, they have love. They are nitya siddha parikar. They have love of God since eternity, for eternity. So they come as male because Mahaprabhu will not entertain women in his surrounding. He's maha strict, Mahaprabhu, as you say. So they had to take male forms, but they retained their manjari bhav. And they preach. Udaya means preaching, giving to others. Magnanimity. Udaya means benevolence, magnanimity. So that is why, again and again, the medium is Mahaprabhu Gaunitai. That's the safest way to go. Otherwise, the door is blocked. Braj Bhakti is Prem Bhakti. We can access to Prem Bhakti without Mahaprabhu. It's a phantasmagoria. So then we almost finished the purport. You can read someone, the abode of Lord Krishna. The very last portion of the purport.
The abode of Lord Krishna above all spiritual planets is called Krishna Lok or Golok Vrindavan. The perfected living being, by developing 78% of the above attribute in fullness, can enter the planet of Krishna Lok after leaving the present material body. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So did you notice how much Srila Prabhupada is stressing 78%, 78. How many times he mentioned that? At least 3-4 times. So he's pushing us, develop your 78% via the medium of bhakti. That's the point. So do you have any questions?
Yes, Prabhu, I have one question.
Yes.
In Srimad Bhagavatam also mentioned that the jivas, when they come in this material world, they become Brahma first.
Yes.
So, and now here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioning that after acquiring these 78% attributes, you can become Brahma.
Where does it say?
In the purport.
Oh yeah.
You can become
a Brahma in due course.
Brahma in due course.
If it is his desire, like we discussed in second canto, it's called mukta. What is that term? The muktavad. You know that I was telling you in the beginning of second canto, they are called. It's like spiritual tourism. You know, they are nirgun, brahmabhut. They don't have karma. They are called the krama mukti. Yes, the krama mukti. But one way or the other, they still want to go on excursion. You know, an excursion. It's not their karma. They're very advanced. They are actually self-realized souls, and they want to see this universe. So what's going to happen? They're going to come to that planet. They're going to visit. They have the adhikar to do that. They are nirgun. They don't have karma. But they have this little axe to grind. They want to see this universe. They want to, just like some people want to visit the world. You know? So then they will end up on Brahmalok. And then it's mentioned, I don't know if you remember, they can wait until the end of Brahma's life to go further and to go back, basically. Or they can, if they want, they can live right away to the spiritual world if they have the adhikar. But as far as we are concerned, I don't know about you, but do you want to become Brahma first before going back? I'm not interested. It's about your adhikar. You follow? If you read the story of Gop Kumar in Srimad Bhagavatam, read, you know, Gop Kumar, he ended up even in Vaikunt. He became Brahma, he became Jadad. It's very interesting, his journey. You see, in his peregrination, it's like a pilgrimage, basically. He's going back to the spiritual world, but in slow motion. And at one point, he's Brahma and he's not happy. Even in Vaikunt is not happy. Can you imagine? And Narad is coming along and telling, oh, why you look morose in Vaikunt? What's wrong with you? And he is confiding to Narad, it's not my cup of tea. I was a gop in Boma Vrindavan. I'm aspiring for something else. And Narad tells him, you go back to Boma Vrindavan, you perfect your life, and then from there only you can go to Golok. You cannot go to Golok from Vaikunt. No way. You have to go back to Boma Vrindavan. That is why Prabhupada is so intelligent. He opened his world headquarters in Mayapur, not in Vrindavan. Because in Vrindavan, are going to commit offenses. They will not be able to stay. Yes, people, Moshika?
Anyone in Vaikuntha Lok, if they have the desire to be promoted to Golok Vrindavan,
They have to go back to... Yeah, read Srimad Bhagavatam. They have to go back to Boma Vrindavan. That was the whole. There's two sections in Srimad Bhagavatam. The second section is dealing with that, the journey of Gopkumar, and he is getting stuck in Vaikunt. He's not happy, and Narad is instructing him, you go back to Boma Vrindavan. Then you can make it back, and that's what he does. And at the end of the day, he goes back to Golok Vrindavan. And then Lord Krishna is not around, he's pasturing the cows, and he gets there by mid-afternoon, he has to wait. Krishna comes back in the evening, and then they meet and they embrace each other. Krishna faints actually to see his friend Gopkumar. He's a gop. So that's why Prabhupada is extremely clever. He put his world headquarters in Mayapur. Back, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says Mayapur is the capital, spiritual capital of the universe. He didn't say that now. The universe. So that's the way to go. The only spiritual dam that's going to be enhanced in the Kali Yuga is Mayapur. All the other dams will disappear, including Vrindavan. Already Saraswati is gone. Ganga will go. Govardhan will go. Once those three are gone, it's Kali Yuga full-fledged. Only those three were retaining Kali Yuga. Saraswati, Ganga, Govardhan. Already one is gone. So Mayapur is the key. Vrindavan it's non-different, yes, but the adhikar is higher. You be careful with offenses. Dhamma parad, seva, everything is magnified in Vrindavan. One aparad multiplied by 1,000. One benefit multiplied by 1,000, yes, but one aparad also. I lived 10 years in Vrindavan, and it's not a joke. And I lived 10 years in Mayapur also. I was doing 50-50. 6 months here, 6 months there. And I could tell you by out of experience, Mayapur is much more mellow. Just sleeping in Mayapur equates to paying Dandavat in Vrindavan. In English.
Commentary.
They extremely, one after the other, they expose all the arguments to defeat those who would still dare to argue that Krishna is not the Supreme. So of course they wrote those commentaries in 16th century, 18th century. Even in those days, not everyone agreed that Krishna is God. What to speak now? So now, I'm just going to pull out whichever arguments we didn't touch at all. I don't want to be redundant here. So you will notice that 1,328 is the last verse of the list of 22 incarnations. So Jim Goswami explained, because 1328 is cited after 1323. It is a conclusive verse. Hence, it has more weightage. It weights more. Because why? Because it comes at the end of the composition. Two, I think I stressed on two. Two means but. All the other incarnations we discussed are shakale, shakala, expansions or expansions of expansions. But Krishna is two. But, nothing but the Supreme. Just like Mahaprabhu, be careful. Mahaprabhu is not just Yuga Avatar, is not Shakale. No, is Narayana, Avatar is of it. Now, this verse is considered Paribhasya Sutra. Do you know this term? Paribhas Sutra. Let me write it down for you. Paribhas Sutra. A very important point. It's a part of grammar. Paribhas Sutra. Sutra means code. Paribhas Sutra. So, Jim Goswami explained, it's like a ruling king. All the other statements have to obey to that king. You may have one emperor, and you have small kings, but all the small kings, they are kings, but still they have to submit to the emperor. So that's why we call this verse the Emperor Shlok. Paribhas Sutra. So, Jim Goswami explained, if a statement doesn't obey Paribhas Sutra, the reader may reject it or interpret it in such a way that it agrees with that verse. In other words, it's like a chandelier. You have seen the chandelier. There is the central, the holding part of the chandelier to the ceiling. That doesn't move. All the other portions of the chandelier rotate around that fixed part. In the same way, all the shlok of Bhagavatam rotate around this verse. Whichever shlok doesn't conclude in the same siddhant as 1328 should be either rejected or reinterpreted. So now, Jiva Goswami, he brings more stuff. Sometimes in the Bhagavatam elsewhere, we can't even read. That's tricky now. For instance, in 10:43:23, the word is there, Amshena. Amshena means, the word is there, Amsh, means ocean. It's mentioned there that Krishna is Amshena, 10:43:23. It doesn't mean that Krishna is an expansion of Narayan. It means that he's accompanied by all his plenary portions. See, that's what I'm saying. You have to go through Acharya. Otherwise, you can easily get how do you say it? You can be misdirected. When you get lost, you refer to that verse. Does that verse that I'm reading, is it corroborated by 1328? Yes or no? Now, some people speculate, can you imagine how far they have to go? In the Vishnu Purana, even in Mahabharata, some people dare to say, do you know what they say? Balaram Krishna are Kesh. Kesh means hairs. white hairs and black hair. Some people are like this. They say, oh, Krishna Balaram are white hair and black hair of Vishnu. So that's totally demolished by Jiva Goswami, big time. There's some verse in Vishnu Puran and Mahabharata. So Jiva Goswami becomes heavy on that one. And he goes, Kesh means effulgence of the Lord's body. In other words, Kesh means Brahman. What is the Brahman? Brahman is the effulgence of Krishna's body, transcendental body. Anyway, I don't want to be cutting hairs because for you it's a bit, perhaps it becomes too tricky now. See, the 10th canto, do you know the size of the 10th canto compared to the whole Bhagavatam? How many chapters in the whole Bhagavatam? Do you have any clue?
18,000.
Yeah. Look, there's the chapters.
Oh, chapters.
335 chapters. So now, the 10th canto, which is the smile of Krishna, is called Ashraya. It's the shelter, the summum bonum we read in purport by Prabhupada. Summum bonum. What is the size of the 10th canto in terms of chapters? 90. So practically 9 by 4, 36. It's a bit less than 1 quarter. The 10th canto is almost 1 quarter to Bhagavatam. So you can see that is why Bhagavatam is considered Mahapuran. It's got 10 topics, but mostly so because it stresses on Bhagavan Sri Krishna as the Ashraya of all the other incarnations of the first 9 cantos. This is the point of Jiva Goswami. And even the 11th canto, what is there? Uddhav Gita. So Krishna is speaking to Uddhav, and if you combine the two 10th and 11th canto, it's already 50% of the whole Bhagavatam. So we can see, Jiva Goswami, that is his point in the 16th century. He was trying to ascertain that number 1, Krishna is God, the Supreme, and number 2, Bhagavatam is the ultimate praman. Praman means evidence of what? That Krishna is God. Anyway, I think I covered enough. There's more stuff, but I don't want to make you dizzy.